Hey everyone, it's Jericho, and I wanted to bring you something brand new. We've talked a lot about movies and given you the reviews. I wanted to add something to that and do something special with this video. And with that, I am going to talk about the 5 worst movies I've ever seen. Um, so it is going by the worst movies I've ever seen. I could obviously just to throw out some right now. I mean, we could talk about some major disappointments like Cats, the Emoji Movie, Battlefield Earth, Jack and Jill, but those movies were so bad that even the trailers said, "Hey, don't watch me," and I actually still have not seen those movies. So we are going strictly on what I have seen. So with that being said, let's just dive right into this. This first movie that we have has an incredible cast, and it's almost kind of like, how can this movie have such a huge cast and be such a huge fail? And I have no idea. I don't know how they did it. This movie stars Hugh Jackman, Kate Winslet, Naomi Watts, Liev Schreiber, Elizabeth Banks, Emma Stone, Gerard Butler, Johnny Knoxville, Richard Gere. Oh man, Halle Berry, she's right there. The list just is so long, I can't even tell you. But the thing is, where it kind of got its name, Movie 43, is like there's this internet rule about like, um, if you search enough times, you'll find what you're looking for. In this movie, like all these people don't interact with each other. There's a bunch of just, here's 10-15 minute scene, here's a 10-15 minute scene with these characters. It's kind of like just these little chunks, so it's almost like if you watch this movie all the way through, there might be something you might enjoy. It almost seems like that was their philosophy. It is terrible. It is rated R, obviously some language, there's nudity, there's violence, everything that you would expect out of a rated R film. So yeah, that is movie 43. I don't recommend it. It came out in 2013, and it's still very high on my don't ever watch this. Don't ever watch this again. So let's jump into number 4. So number 4 was recent. It was 2018, and so I mean a couple years, but when I saw this trailer, I was actually intrigued. This movie stars Lakeith Stanfield and Tessa Thompson. So the movie I'm talking about is Sorry to Bother You. And it really looked funny. I mean, it also stars Terry Crews and Danny Glover. And I'm a huge Danny Glover fan. You might have heard me mention Lethal Weapon before, and I will continue to mention Lethal Weapons probably for the rest of my life. So I wanted to see this film, and a few of my buddies, we went to see it, and oh man, what a train wreck! What a train wreck! Did I laugh a few times in the film? Absolutely. But I'm gonna give you a spoiler. So if you want to see this film, I'm ruining it for you. You can either fast forward this or just stop the film, or stop this video. But it almost like is so is this poverty kind of like, Lakeith needs a job, and so he becomes a telemarketer and works his way up. He gets good at it, and then all of a sudden he gets so good, like opportunities come out the wazoo, and he gets hooked up with Army Hammer, and Army Hammer gives him some kind of version of cocaine, and he sniffs the cocaine, and then the rest of the movie, you're seeing these half human, half horse, naked people running all around during this huge riot between the lower class telemarketers and the upper class telemarketers. And it's just like there's an all-out brawl kind of happening. I have no idea what's happening in this film. And by the end of it, you're like, you literally walked out of this movie like, what did I just watch? Like, because the movie was going fine, going fine. All of a sudden, it just took this crazy turn. It was like, whoa, what happened? So, and I say that in not a loving way, actually. I really walked out of there and like, that's hours of my life I'll never get back. So 2018, it's Sorry to Bother You stars, it's right there, Lakeith Stanfield, Tessa Thompson, Armie Hammer, Danny Glover, Terry Crews. I think it was Boots Riley that wrote and directed it. Don't recommend this film. So let's go into number 3. So this film, we all know the predecessor so well. It's a classic. I actually don't know if I've ever met anybody who hasn't met the original, or hasn't, sorry, said that completely weird, hasn't liked the original. The original I'm talking about is Dumb and Dumber. And for some reason, that movie did so well that they thought it was a good idea to do a prequel that, that doesn't star Jim Carrey or Jeff Daniels. They just wanted to do a prequel of the Dumb and Dumber classic that we have. I don't know anybody that asked for that. Not one person. So this movie came out in 2003, I think. Um, this movie is a train wreck from not even the beginning of the film. It was the beginning of the thought to have a prequel to Dumb and Dumber. Yes, I saw it just because I love Dumb and Dumber, and maybe that's why they knew they'd make some money from this, and I fell into that trap. But I watched it, and I will never watch it again. I believe this could be a torture film, actually. Just because you know how good the first one was, and it's like, why? Because the guys that they got to play Lloyd and Harry, it's Derek and Eric. They played Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels characters, and they do fine. I mean, they're not Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. It's just not. And but not only is it you have the Dumb and Dumber trying to do the mentality of this film, what they do is they put them back in high school. It's when Harry met Lloyd. And so not only do you have that kind of crap going on, you have to have high school drama going into it, and they're fighting their principal, which is acted by Eugene Levy. It's like, okay, how cliche and boring can we get? And yeah, Bob Saget's the other big name that's in this film, and it's horrendous. It's horrendous. I do recommend Dumb and Dumber, the original with Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, and I know they did a sequel like 20 years later. I don't recommend that one really either. That is nowhere near as horrendous. I'm gonna just keep calling this film horrendous. I don't know what else to say with this film. It's bad, and we're just done talking about it. So number 2, we have. I don't even know where to start with this film. I'm gonna pronounce this guy's name wrong, and I'm sorry. I'm apologizing now because I don't want to butcher people's names. I'll butcher their films, but not their names on purpose. But it's Steve Oedekerk. It's like Oedekerk. I'm just from now on. I'm just gonna call him Steve. So Steve. First off, let's give him some props. He wrote Bruce Almighty and Evan Almighty. I mean, he wrote the screenplays for those films. He wrote the screenplay for this film. Not only did he do that, he directed this film, and that's him that you see acting in this film as well. So Steve took it upon himself to star, direct, and write this film that he is in. And it falls very, very, very short. What the concept of this film is like 70s, you know, kung fu, basically Chinese action movies that you'd see back in the day, uh, mixed with a Ben Stiller Zoolander guy as the main lead. I don't know how to explain this any better. The film literally takes this concept of, uh, you know, cheesy martial arts with Zoolander personality, and it falls short. It's the whole movie's based around revenge, like from the baby, his parents get killed, and then he spends his whole life trying to track down his parents' murderers. So that's this film. It's called Kung Pao Enter the Fist. It came out in 2002, and it was terrible then. In fact, here's a quick story. I actually bought this film. I love martial arts films. I love Jet Li, Bruce Lee, those kind of things. So I bought this film. I watched it, And I was so mad at this film, I threw it away. Threw it completely away. And I was very outspoken to everybody, do not buy this or don't watch this film. And they eventually thought it was a joke to start buying me this film. So I would actually start getting numerous copies of this DVD, and I kept throwing them away. I didn't pawn them or anything like that. I kept throwing them away. Eventually, I just held on to one because I was sick of finding copies. That was the other thing. They wouldn't just give it to me. People like come over and they would just hide it, and I would start finding it. And then I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna keep one. And ever since I did that, I have never received another copy of this. And thank goodness, because this movie is just it's a disaster. Kung Pao, Enter the Fist, don't watch it. So before I go into this final clip, my number one, there's two movies that almost made the cut. And I just want to give you a couple quick stories real quick. The first movie is Solaris, which came out in 2002. It stars George Clooney. And the reason this film didn't make the cut is because technically I didn't finish it. And it's like, wait, aren't these movies that you see? And it's like, yes, I did go. I actually paid to go to the theater to see this movie. And this is the only movie I have ever fallen asleep to in a theater. Yes, in a huge theater, I was with a couple people, and two of us fell asleep in this movie. One, she she sucked it up and watched it for the rest of us and told us what the movie was about on the way home. And it was, thank goodness I fell asleep. It was not good. So the reason it didn't make the list is because technically I didn't finish it, but it's getting mentioned because it was so bad I fell asleep in a movie theater. I didn't even know that was possible. So yeah, Solaris 2002, George Clooney. The other movie that I want to mention is The Mist. 2007, stars Thomas Jane. And if you're like me, you're like, whoa, 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 that was kind of a good movie. I fully agree. I fully agree. This movie I thought was really cool. Why I'm even mentioning this though is because the last whatever 5 minutes of this movie, you watch this whole movie and it's really good, and then they ruin it with this last 3 minutes. There's not another movie I've been so mad about in my entire life. This movie infuriated me after I watched it. I'm like, are you kidding me? So just out of that, I almost put that on this movie list, but luckily the first part of this movie, or whatever, 98% of this film, actually did a good job. It's a scary movie written by Stephen King, stars Thomas Jane. So, but let's get into it. What is my number one least favorite movie of all time? And what's crazy is it stars Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel, which most people know her from Elf, or she's got her TV show The New Girl. Mark Wahlberg has a ton of great big hits. This is obviously not one of them. This movie was written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and who we know him for The Sixth Sense, Signs, The Village, and I can't forget Unbreakable. Sorry, Unbreakable. This movie, I am going to spoil it. I am. So if you want to watch this movie, it's called The Happening. I would stop this film right now because I'm going to ruin it. This movie's rated R. Why? Because, I am getting spoilers. People start committing suicides in different ways. And it shows you some gruesome ways, knives, guns, leaping off buildings and stuff. So this movie, all of a sudden, some kind of pandemic happens where people start committing suicide. I'm spoiling this for you. It's the stupid trees. You watch this whole movie to find out the trees get ticked off and they're like, no. We want our world back, and we're gonna just make people commit suicide. And I don't know why I gave it a weird accent. I guess that's what a tree would sound like in my head. So, and I don't even know what accent that was. I'm sorry if I offended anybody with that. So here we are. We watched this movie with Mark Wahlberg, who I I think he's a phenomenal actor. And it's trees. Trees. Seriously, M. Night. Why? I just don't get it. I was really looking forward to this. I was like, M. Night, he has these cool movies, crazy twist. It stars Mark Wahlberg. I like him. And then no. It made number one for me. The number one worst movie I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot of movies. A lot of movies. So there you had it. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you've seen these films. Let me know if you actually like any of these or if you kind of agree with it. Also mention some movies that you don't like. These are just the 5 movies that I have seen. Like I said, that's, Cats is not on my list because I just haven't seen it and I don't really plan on it. So thank you for watching this. If you liked it, hit the like button, and like always, be sure to subscribe. That way you're notified for future movie reviews. Thank you, everyone.